I'm Adarsh Thoh, Principal Correspondent with Express Computer, and I welcome you all to another intriguing and a very interesting webinar. It is brought to you by Express Computer in partnership with Symphony AI. So today we will explore how AI-driven IT service management and IT asset management can work wonders to you. AI has revolutionized technologies globally and transformed businesses with its unmatchable potential to self-evolve. In an effort to unlock this potential and to redefine employee experience and supercharge productivity with cutting edge technologies, we bring to you this webinar titled Accelerate Business Growth with Symphony AI Apex Workflows. So, in the following hour, we will witness how unifying IT service management and IT asset management on a single powerful software platform can be a game changer for your organization. So, to take a deep dive into the subject, I have with me our esteemed guest of the day, Mr. Deepak Raghavan, Principal Solutions Consultant at Symphony AI, and Mr. Piyush Parashar, Territory Sales Manager at Symphony AI. However, before we delve into the technology talks and hand over the session to our speakers, I would like to take our audience through the house rules first. So, this is an audio video webinar which is being broadcasted live and it will be available as an on demand feature on our website. We will have poll questions in between of the webinar, so I request all our audience members to actively participate in the poll questions as your perspective and your views are of great importance to us. We will also have a Q&A session. So once our speakers are done with their presentations, I'll open the floor for the Q&A sessions, for the questions, and the audience can put forth their questions using the Q&A tab that's there flashing on your screens. So your questions will be answered by our speakers live in this webinar as much as the time permits. And in case if any of your questions remain unanswered, you don't have to worry about it. During the time of the session, there'll be an email ID which is flashing on your screen. So you can use that email ID to send in your questions and the team from Symphony AI will get back to you. And last but not the least, in case if you face any technical issues, I recommend you to refresh your browser first. However, if the issues persist, use the same Q&A tab to send in your issues, and a team from the backend will get back to you with the proper solution. So moving on, let's begin the webinar. Our first speaker of the day brings to the table a rich experience of over a decade in business development with exceptional skills in consulting and acquiring enterprise customers in IT operations and enterprise service management space. Before joining Symphony AI, he has been a valuable resource to some leading names in the industry, like Freshworks, Hexaware Technologies, IBM, and Abort. With this note, I welcome Mr. Piyush Parashar, Territory Sales Manager at Symphony AI, to take the session ahead.
Thank you, Adarsh. Thank you so
Hi,
much.
Piyush.
Hi, Adarsh, and thank you so much for that introduction. Right. Okay, so team, and thanks everyone once again. So I'm Piyush, and I represent Enterprise IT Division of Symphony AI. And who Symphony AI is, I would just like to spend not more than 30 seconds to introduce ourselves. So Symphony AI is a global organization of around 2,500 colleagues who are spread across 33 countries for us. And since 2017, uh, we have rebranded ourselves as Symphony AI because that was the milestone year when, at a group level, we invested more than $1 billion on AI research and AI, use cases development. Right? So our AI research and the productivity that we bring to table is not born after 2022 January, February timeframe when the AI became the buzz, but it is a little deeper and little more sincere. Goes back 5 years from that time, and that's what we bring. So we want to be the leading AI SaaS solution for the globe. At the moment, we are servicing retail and CPG. We are servicing financial institutions. We are servicing industrial, which means more of manufacturing, industrial, and automation use cases, and also media as a vertical. And to cut across all these verticals, we from Enterprise IT Division, we are a you can say a business agnostic platform, and that's where our flagship product, something which we'll be talking about today, uh, is, and the flag bearer of the entire portfolio is the Apex platform, right? And this is the happening thing, the latest that the industry has demanded from us, and we have been able to service them back. While I've introduced ourselves a little bit, we have also been very, very fortunate to have been helping some of very large customers globally and India also, right? Intentionally, we don't want to do a name drop here and keep it very succinct that in India we are working with some of the largest enterprises of the world or businesses that are servicing India as a domestic market, right? So we have been always fortunate enough, and most of these relationships are for us are at least more than 7 years, 8 years. We have 5 plus years. At least all of these relationships are 3 plus years and ongoing for us, right? So we take a lot of pride and confidence that investments that we are doing, the research and the innovations that we are bringing, it is meaningful for large enterprise. It is meaningful for large enterprise to solve those complex use cases that they are usually thrown day in a life. So coming head to the Apex platform, and this is a point where I would just like to take a pause. And before I explain what Apex platform offers and what is the workflow capabilities, what's the no-code capabilities in the platform, I would like to take a sort of a poll and try and understand that the audience of the call, uh, how much of a pain this side of business is. So maybe Anush, can I borrow your help to launch that poll for everyone?
Definitely.
Perfect.
Steve, can we have the first poll question? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's on the screen. I think it'll be interesting to see what's the outcome of this poll.
Can we have the results now? I
Yeah,
think the time is up.
yeah. Let's look at the result. Okay, that's exciting. So I think the poll that we have, right? I'm not sure if that was visible to everyone. I'll just reiterate. Primarily, the question was asking what's your ongoing challenges or which do you foresee as the challenges in your ESM, your ITSM operation. Whatever was listed, I think the 90% weightage we saw is on all of the above, right? And what makes all of the above is primarily we felt that it's complexity, experience. There was one thumbs up on the end user experience design. Uh, Point valid taken. And I think we have always been fortunate at Symphony AI to receive a first-hand feedback and pass it into the product development or a platform development here. So what we have done is that before we even invest in the product, we analyze what industry is demanding from us. And we felt that somewhere industry wants us to deliver a platform on four factors, right? Because IT service management, enterprise service management, nothing was new, right? But after using this technology for 2.5 decades, or even more, large enterprises they always want they expect that they don't want to buy a product or a platform for every small or a mushrooming need from their business, right? So that's why I think rapid application rollout was was one of the most high ranked priority for most of the enterprises. That's what they demanded from a large enterprise service platform. So rapid application rollout, a single place to have a central, I would say, service management, which does not only mean IT service management. Enterprises wanted us to give them a platform where they can run HR, IT, admin, marketing, customer, most of the servicing that, not most, I would say customer wanted that all the servicing requirement that they do in their business activity they should be able to do from a single platform and they should not be uh, asked to have a combination of two, three, right? So that was a demand that can a product be brought in that fashion? Automation, definitely. I think automation has been the trend for last decade. We see it growing for next decade also, and that is where a lot of leaders like you who are there on the call, uh, you have demanded us that the product should give a very solid automation capability, and again, not limited to IT scenario automation. These automations should be non-IT, and it should be equally potent to address non-IT workflows, non-IT, I would say, approval workflows or the business workflows or notification mechanism. And they wanted the similar maturity that a large-scale ITSM gives to pass them to other departments also, right? So that was a very, very hard-pressing demand. And finally, all of this was being asked with a view of a very solid productivity gain that they wanted. Right now, they wanted productivity gain for end users. They expect the platform brings productivity for analysts, and they also wanted the productivity for the people who will administer this entire platform, right? Because at times for large enterprise, that piece becomes really heavy. So while these four pillars were very, very clearly identified for us, we did not look beyond this, and we first try to address these 4 points while architecting the entire platform. And that's what Apex platform, that's the genesis of Apex platform. So if I have to just spend a minute to explain you what to expect from the platform, definitely on two sides of the product or a platform will always be end users, uh, whether it's end user as a customer or an employee, or the other side of the window is an analyst or people who are addressing those issues or are accountable to manage those part of operations. Certainly, the executives in the organizations who are leaders, and mostly I think people on this call would be in executive roles over here, and definitely other persona. And that word other persona is that the industry did not wanted us to limit the service management or to a customer and end user being an employee, right? They wanted us that, hey, why can't we do a vendor management mechanism inside the same product, right? Can we do a customer onboarding and customer referral on the same code, right? I think that's why it triggered us, and we call it that any other persona can be, be the consumer of this platform here, right? So now, while the consumer is defined, it was a very interesting scenario for us that uh, where do we fit in our AI, right? Because the AI research and innovation has been going very, very at a very high speed for us, right? So the first conversation channel that we recommend customers these days to have is the Symphony AI co-pilots. And these co-pilots, again, they are not just I would say a customer or an end user facing co-pilot where you can have your frequently asked questions, have a conversation, and drop out. No, sorry. Uh, we have uh, done a very thorough requirement analysis of what an analyst expects from a co-pilot, right? Can those 30 minutes or a 60-minute resolution hours for an analyst, can that be brought down to 2 minutes or a 5 minute window, right? So can a co-pilot come in and help analysts summarize those scenarios, summarize the issue at hand, also recommend what has been a probable solution to it, and then also help analysts to type down or respond back with a very legitimate and a very well crafted response to it, right? I think if all these three aspects are covered, I think that's a very good service done to an analyst, right? So likewise, we thought of analysts, executives, administrators, and certainly end users, right? So Copilot becomes the first interface. Yes, the platform exposes all probable channels of communication, uh, whether it's your web browsers or a collaboration channel or an email or your IVRs, or you want to, you know, have a conversation through mobile app, right? And then comes the most striking layer, right? Service management is something which is pre-built. I think industry expect that, hey, a very robust ITIL compliant service management modules are there. Asset management is there, a very mature asset life cycle, right from discovery to your uh, till the time you retire your assets in the organization, right? Can we do all those activities? And then what you see as HR app and facilities app, right? And that's where the platform play comes in. And the platform, which is essentially a no-code platform. It gives all our customers I would say, a white slate, a white board, I would say, to scratch and create their own applications. And I think there was a disservice happening to this industry, and particularly to the audience which is today on the call, right? They were only black and white scenarios for you, right? I think what you were getting was that, hey, if I can do a lot of things, it means that the platform will be complex. Or you had an option that, okay, if there's something which is looking very easy and then too easy, it will definitely not help you solve those complex scenarios, a multi-tiered workflow overall. And that's where we break this entire cycle. And that's where we found a very right placement, that there's no capping on the complexity or the variability that you want to address, but we assure you that your experience will be seamless, easy. A true no-code platform is what you want, right? Instead of me talking anything further on this, I would like, request Deepak, my colleague, to show you that, and in his presentation, he has that handy with him, right? And underlining all of this platform is a beautiful designer studio, right? Why I say beautiful is enterprise customer needs variability. They are celebrating their business every day, every month. There are quarterly, scenarios changing in the business, in the world, and they want to keep all the portals, they want to keep all employees, they want to keep all analysts up to date with that, right? And this expectation itself needs variability, right? That's where comes designer studio, right? Where a complete no code layer, whether you want to redesign your or deploy a new service portal, you want to design a new notifications, you want to build new SLA. So there are, workflow to notifications to SLA to reporting. So all no code designer sits inside the designer studio, and then it does the magic of a lot of our customers, right? So that's what Apex primarily bring for any large enterprise. I think I've just introduced you to designer studio. I'll just take a double click on two examples, right? So for example, any large enterprise which is looking to create non-IT workflow, right? And they want to launch some applications. Let's say, let me take an example of a vendor due diligence or I would say customer due diligence process, right? Essentially, what they need is a portal that is very unique for their customer, replicates what their business wants to reflect, give the accurate information, accurate widgets for customer, and keep it simple, right? Now, this scenario may evolve in the calendar year, and that's where the service portal designer comes in, right? What the snapshot that you see on my screen right now, I can just assure you that every layout, every you can say aspect ratio of this to every widget is configurable, and every element that is configurable is can be done through a no-code mechanism. You can drag drop, you can change the size, coloring, upload of the images. Everything is no-code here, right? And we have seen customers using so many types. I mean, it would be regressive if I say that I have seen at least 170, 175 sort of service portal where customers make it completely different or a different use case that what they're addressing. So that's the extent of flexibility that a service portal designer embeds in the overall design studio. So like a service portal designer, customers will always get the most meaningful thing. And for the purpose why we have connected on this call is the workflow design. Right? And I would like to just take a quick repeat of the statement we made over here. Lot of products and platforms in the market, we believe were either on one of the side of the spectrum, right? They were not addressing the full scenario. Now, if a customer has a small or a simple workflow, maybe 5 stages, 7 stages of a simple workflow with 2 or 3 layers of approval, it was very easy in certain products, right? You can pull out, scratch it, and deploy it, right? I think you may need 1.5, 1 hour, 2 hours of activity. You may do a test run and do it. But what happens when a multi-department, inter-department, or a very cumbersome process? For example, I have a use case. Let me show the use case of a customer due diligence, right? So typically in a customer due diligence process, the entire workflow need to be sitting somewhere where the customer identification to fact checking the data, also fact checking all the essential data that was required to complete the due diligence, and then subsequently updating the ancillary systems in the organization that's required, right? All of this was not in the bucket of a medium or a simple workflow designer sort of a product, right? And that's where enterprise demanded that we do not want a capping on complexity or the variability that we want to design. If we are looking at an ESM product where we can design a service management, an internal service management, and a customer service management also, we need out of the world capability to have integrations with my third party customer information, my other channels of customer data, my very core business data. So yes, that's where Symphony AI's Apex platform comes in. You will be able to design all of that again in a no code fashion within the same platform. And all these connections can be made to the ancillary systems, right? And that's where the magic happens, right? And this is one such customer due diligence workflow that we have been able to deliver for a very large financial institution. And we just cannot name them, but it is one of the top financial institution of the world. And they were actually not expecting a service management platform to handle this complexity, because in last 10 years they have done a custom development of this application. What they did on us, they had attempted to go and procure a solution for this standalone for a customer due diligence workflow, but somewhere they felt that they have a cap, they have a ceiling, and with Apex, they are really happy. And I think all their nitty gritties, the capability to integrate with their uh, old systems, right, in the organization, and financial institutions typically have them, right? I think they never felt an hassle on that, and that's where I think we were able to meet the expectation what this customer had from us, right? So I'll just go back on that particular slide where I was just trying to emphasize that what a strong workflow designer or an automation designer for a large organization can bring, right? I think definitely this is one stop solution that gives you an impact on productivity. It helps you be more compliant, and definitely large enterprises use this as a sort of a mechanism to reduce the repetitive tasks. So while catering all these three levers, I think workflow designer is the most highly demanded and the most respected, I would say, heart of the entire Apex platform. And we would love to explain it more. And rather me keeping on talking and using the slide, why don't we take a pause? And I'll request my colleague Deepak to show these scenarios in action rather than slide, right? And fortunately, he's handy.
Thanks, Piyush. That was indeed a very interesting session. And I know Deepak is a following speaker, but now it's time for our second poll question.
Yeah.
And I'd request my team to have the poll on screen, please. Okay, so the next poll question is, which aspect of the Symphony AI Apex platform interests you the most? And your options are Design Studio for building custom workflows, AI-powered digital agent for self-service, reporting and analytics for data-driven decisions, modern user interface and user experience, or all of the above. And there's also none of the above. So choose wisely. And I would again request our audience to participate, actively participate in our poll questions, as your views, your perspectives are really important to us. And you have 30 seconds to answer before this question goes away and we have the results here. It seems like the time is almost there. So I'll request my team that once the time is up, you can please show the results on the screen.
Okay. That's interesting. I think that's a mixed bag. So I don't think Deepak has a chance to skip any of the topic.
Definitely, Piyush. I was just thinking on the same line.
Yeah.
We have a mixed review. We have for everything they have shown the interest on that.
And
Perfect.
that'll be great. In fact, that'll give Deepak an opportunity to completely open up, right, your stack.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
with
That's right.
this, we come to our next speaker of the day, and he's a seasoned professional with 17 years of enriching experience in consulting. devising solutions and delivering to the expectations of some of the industry leading customers. He's a goal oriented professional and he holds an expertise in technology transformation. Prior to joining Symphony AI, he has worked with some renowned names, including IBM, Unisys, Microland, and Mobility Infotech. With this, I welcome our next speaker of the day, Mr. Deepak Raghavan, who is Principal Solutions Consultant at Symphony AI. Deepak, here's the chance. Over to you,
Thank
sir.
you, Adesh. Thank you, Adesh, for the introduction. And thank you, Piyush. You have raised the bar. And definitely, the Bangalore climate is too cool. I would recommend you to just please come down and join us in Bangalore for having a beautiful weather. With that, let's get back to our today's discussion on our Symphony AI Apex platform, which is AI-powered automation, and you could also have intelligent workflow built on our platform, right? And as Piyush stated, I'm not gonna walk you through with any slides. I'm gonna directly deep dive into our demo session, right? So with this, let me go ahead and share my screen. So, very first thing, what you exactly see on the screen is a unified service portal. It's a single service portal which ends the complexity of your multiple IT sites and the interfaces, making it ease for your end users to get all their services issues addressed, right? It is one single place where the users can quickly access and do the wonders, right? So for this particular service portal, where the user wants to go to an HR portal, you can just simply click on the HR portal or the payroll or the SharePoint portal or Academy. So with this, you get those flexibility to host your multiple different applications URL into a one single unified self-service portal, right? Uh, Not only that, our service portal, what you see here, right? It could also be catered for your different persona-based dashboards, right? So, for example, I would want a dashboard for my end user specific, right? Where the end users would go out and log their queries or raise a request based on your different departments. So when I say different department with the architecture, what Piyush had showcased earlier, our tool supports the multi-tenant and multi-hierarchy architecture, right? So when I say which is an enterprise grade multi-tenancy, when I talk about multi-tenancy, it is again a three-tiered multi-tenancy. Starts from domain separations. You have domain, subdomain, and tenant. So if I have to quickly jump into that, this is how the topology would look like. So I have a main domain, in which in this example, what you see is Symphony AI is my main domain, a main parent company. Under that, I have my sub companies like enterprise IT or a retail or a CPG or a media. Those becomes my subdomain. Against each of those subdomains, I would have different tenants. When I talk about different tenants within that group company, I would have different departments. Could be my IT department, my HR, my finance, or facilities, or admin, right? So on and so forth, right? So that's what you see here as a different department within that subdomain, right? And within this each department, you have the different modules or the applications what you would have catered for that particular department, right? So that's what you would see here. You see for the IT, you have the service management, asset management, automation, discovery, different modules which are available. But when I come to my HR, I just see the service management or HR is the related modules only enabled. Similarly for my facilities. So if I come to my other subdomain, which is related to retail, I have a retail related subdomain, a tenant, and the module which is enabled for that. So this is what I'm talking about, more of the multi-tenant and multi-level hierarchy what you could have, right? And for each of those different tenants or different hierarchy, you could have your own custom self-service portals designed for your users, catering for their requirements, right? So if you see, this is my IT self-service portal where I would have a search bar where they could search for any of the incidents or the knowledge articles for which they are looking for, or they have to log a ticket, or browse through a knowledge article, or go through a community, or they want to see what are the tickets which they have logged, how many such open incidents, or what are the resolved incidents, the request, so and so, right? And also, as an organization, you would like to have some kind of an announcement or a bulletin board which has to be set up, right? So you could use this feature to have those catered for your users when they log in. They can go through those important announcements, right? Similarly, the videos, the other graphs, analytics, you could have this kind of a service portal design. So similarly, if I go to my HR services, my look and feel of my service portal would be totally different, which catering for my HR services, right? So this kind of a flexibility what you would get to build your different persona service portals. Similarly, if I have to have a very simple service portal without all those analytics into it, I just want to have a search option or logging option, I can have a simple theme, something like this. I could do that. Or similarly, from the persona perspective, if it's my analyst or a technician, if they are logging into the tool, this doesn't make sense for them, this portal, right? So we could have something called as analyst dashboard as a service portal, which could be designed, which would give them the information about their workload, what's the current workload for themselves, like the number of incidents which is assigned to them or their team or the change or the SR. If it's a different department like an HR analyst, then you can see the HR cases which has been assigned to them or which are in open status, or the HR requests which are there. So critical tasks, the workload, what you see, you can actually design the service portal using the different widgets for showcasing the different portals for yourself, right? So this kind of service portals also you get an opportunity to build it, and all this service portals what you would see are built using no code, low code uh, functionality, which actually uses using our 50 plus different controls which could be used to build the service portal. So let's quickly get into how to build a service portal. So how do we navigate through this, right? So we do switched as a designer. So I just moved to the design studio. So once I move there, I do have my service portals under my applications where I can see different service portals which have been enabled. So I'm going to take one example, the intranet portal, the one single portal catering for all your different things, right? So I'm going to use that portal to showcase how to do that. So let me put it in the maintenance mode to start with, so that I could go ahead and showcase how this specific service portal is built end to end with low code, no code, with zero coding to be precise, right? So this is my self-service portal design. So I just go to my design portal, and this is the portal what we actually saw, where we had different applications URL where the user clicks on that, which takes them to that particular applications, right? So how do you design this? We do have this different layouts. We could use this different layouts to design our canvas, which could be an 100% or 50-50 split, 80-20. So you could use any of these layouts to design your canvas. Then you can use the panels like accordions or tabs within this portals. So once you have designed your overall structure within your service portal canvas, then you move to adding the widgets. This is where the actual magic starts, right? So I have my different widgets again grouped into like a general widget where I can add an image or a tagline. Like for example, you want a small clock to appear on this, so just drag and drop that. Then you just go ahead and click on the configuration. You can specify what time zone it is. Like for example, you have to put it for the India time zone. You select that time zone. Then you go to the appearance. You can specify what color, text color it should look like. What if you want to have some background image or transparency, padding, border, all this. You just whatever the changes, we make it on this properties. It immediately reflects, right? So that's how easy it is. So if you see this widget was used by the search bar, search box. And if you want to add a video into this, so I can simply go ahead and drag and drop a video URL here. Then I can just click on the configuration. I can provide the source. So I can select the source as a YouTube source or any other source. I can provide the link. I can provide what should be my start and end time for that particular videos. And also I can design my appearance, how exactly it should look like, look onto this canvas, right? So that's the flexibilities what you get while designing your service portals. So we have multiple different such widgets which we could use. Even for example, the bulletin boards. So what I was talking about, the important announcements which you have to make for your users when they land into the self-service portal. You want to cater that information for them. So you can just drag and drop that particular bulletin board, and then you could simply go ahead. Okay, let me just close this part. So I have here the configurations for that. So here I can select for which tenant. So if it's a multi-tenant, I can specify for which tenant this important announcement should be visible. And once I select that, then I can go to the appearance. I can use marquee, or I can use vertical roll, or I can use a grid view, or I can use a console view. So what happens, whatever the information you would provide here, it accordingly it would cater on that particular service. So you could use all these options to build your service. Right? Similarly, I could also use this action widget. So when I say action widgets, all these widgets what you see here is my action widgets. Like for example, if I want to see what is the properties for my this HR portal what I've used, right? So I can specify, I can just click on that. I can specify the data source. So what should happen when you click on that specific action widget, right? So I'm just providing the URL, so it should redirect to that particular URL when they click on that particular action. So that's what you provide here. You provide the appearance and other stuff, so using all these different options. So I know that I don't have much time to cover each and every aspect of this designing, but definitely if you're interested, we could have a workshop walking you through with each and every aspect of this designing. So, right? So with this, let me just go ahead and showcase few more other things. So we do also have graphical widgets like bar graph, line graph, and pie graph. So if you but remember, just some time back, I showcased different portals where it had some analytics kind of an information about the workloads, the tickets being assigned to that specific individual or to the team. So you could use all those things using this bar graph, line graph, pie graph. You can also use the data widgets like a tabular, a numerical, or you could also have some kind of a coded widget. So if you have to have some kind of a coded done, you could also do that using a coded widget also, right? So best part is you could also save widgets. So if you want to have some kind of a widgets which you have created, you want to save them, yeah, you could also do that also from the service portal uh, perspective, right? Now, moving from the service portal, it's very important to understand, right, the capability of low code, no code, and the workflow, ease of creating your workflows, and the form designers, the workflow designers, the business rule designers, and other things which you should cover, right? So I'm going to start with the form designer. So what do you exactly do with the form designer, right? It helps you to spin up the forms of any complexity within minutes, right? You could create a main form, a sub form, a popover form, and you can choose from an extensive library of a predefined templates and more than 50 plus built-in controls, which could be used to build or design your forms, right? And all this just by using a drag and drop action widgets, right? So that's the power of the no code platform what we provide. So I just simply go ahead and uh, move to the form designer. So this is my form designer, where I just go there and I can just click on one of the forms. I've already put it in the maintenance mode so that I can walk you through about this form designer. This is basically the service catalog form designer, what I'm showcasing. How do you go ahead and create that, right? So you specify the form name, the description. You can add the logos or icons to your forms. Then you can specify whether it's a transaction form and an admin form, and what how it should be rendered as. It should be rendered as a main form or a sub form or a pop-over form whenever you open the form of the system, right? And these are these different access what to provide to a particular form, and how it has been categorized into different categories. These forms are grouped into, right? Then whether you want to create a new table. So when I say create a new table, it once the form is created, it would have its own table schema, and every data which comes onto it going to sit on that. Or if I have to use the existing tables, so I'm just gonna enhance my table configurations. I enhance by adding new columns to that. So that's where I'm going to use my existing tables in that case, right? So very important here is in the form creation, you go to the design form where you actually go out and design the forms, how you want your forms to be designed, right? So again, very similar to your service portal designer, what we saw, you do also get different controls, widgets, and fields which you could use. So you could again start with the layout. So this is the canvas on the right hand side, what you see, and you could design your canvas by using the different layouts. You can split the canvas using 2080, 3070. You could use multiple different splitters what you have. Then whether you want to divide with an horizontal divider or vertical divider, you want to have an header or a footer, you just drag and drop and design such kind of a form for yourself. So these are some of the sample forms which we had created. Then you could also use the panels, the accordion, the field set, the multi-valued groups or tabs, cards, right? Uh, to do that, right? So these are the accordions under which I am using a drop-down box. I'm gonna use different text box or different field attributes into my form design, right? Similarly, under form controls, I can use a text box or a long text or a single choice or a multi-choice option, a date picker, autocomplete, a tree view, radio buttons. So there are multiple different options which we can use. Or if you're designing a survey form, so we do also have survey controls to design that survey form, like a star rating or a slider or a Likert scale. We could use that. Or form actions, like actions, if you like a button, you want when you click on that, it should take certain actions. Yeah, you could do that. You also have advanced list or relationship kind of widgets which we could use, form elements. So there are multiple different form layouts and designs and different action buttons and controls which could be used to define your forms. So once you have designed your forms, next thing is the mapping. Where from how do you map this? So what happens when a requester or an end user is opening this form, or as an analyst when he opens the form, what exactly should happen? Or you want to map to the parent attribute from the current attribute, you could do that, right? Then the sequence generator, the design list view, the summary of the overall, how exactly the form would look like once you render it, right? So that's how it shows in the summary. And then finally, you go ahead and publish it. So while publishing it, you can go ahead and publish that particular form. And you could, if you want to add some kind of a condition, it should be published to a specific set of users. Yeah, you can add those conditions here. So that's about the form designer. So from form designer, I would move on to which is a very important component again where Piyush stressed so much is on our workflow design. So with the workflow designer, you can design any workflow in its modern graphical canvas. It's a no code approach, right? So with workflows, you could accelerate your workflow building using ready to use action components. You would be able to go ahead and build your workflows. So when I say workflows again, so I can have different workflows designed for multiple different aspects. So I will just take one example, like us or a user has logged a request for requesting for a backup for a database, right? So once he logs it, uh, it can have a different workflows, right? It can have multiple levels of approvals, which could be configured before it can be fulfilled. The request can be fulfilled for the users, right? So how do you build those workflows? So we do have this workflow canvas where we're going to use this different widgets on the left hand side to drag and drop into my canvas and build those workflows, right? So I have this approval options where I can use approvals. I can use these condition options like if condition switch or wait for conditions. I can also on certain on the as per the workflow on a certain criteria I want to notify. I can use the notify control within my workflows, or I want to have some kind of a join or a branch or a set value options within my workflows. I could do that. When I say set value on certain conditions, you say that a specific team has performed certain action on a specific field, you want the status to be automatically changed to X to Y status. Yeah, you will be able to do that using the set values. Or you want to create a record. So again, either using the call API or within the same instance, you want to have one more record to be created on certain conditions, you will be able to use that options also, right? And you could also create sub workflows into this. So this sub workflows is again we could create our workflows and we can make it as a sub workflow which we can reuse in any of our workflows. Like for example, very basic conditions on your service request management would be if a request is raised, it should go for its reporting manager for approval. So you don't have to always go out and add that. You can just create a sub workflow and just call that workflow into your overall workflow, right? So here you could see the different conditions, the where it goes for the requester. After he creates a request, it goes for an approvals. So you could just click on this and you can see what exactly it says, what exactly it does. So it says it's gone for waiting for an approval. You're setting a value, status value. Then you come here and you could actually configure these properties. So where you say whether it should go for as a manager for approval, then you can specify based on the role based or based on the user attribute or any dynamic approvals, or you want to hardcore your approvals into the workflows, then you use the static approval, or you expect the end user while logging the request, he should select the approval. Then you can use this user selectable approval. So here in this case, we have used the rule-based approval, where I say it's a dot walking again. It helps you to have any level you can go for your approvals, right? Now, for example, you says that it should not be to his reporting manager, it should be his line manager. In which case, I can say requester dot manager dot manager, which would be his manager's manager to whom it can go for approval. Right? So in this case, it's just requester dot manager to whom the approval is gone, and what all actions they can take. So we do have multiple different actions as an approver, what you can take. Either you can approve, you can reject, you can put it on hold, forward to, refer backs, and different conditions. So you can just use all these conditions to build his approval. So you can specify what you need to enable, what you don't need to enable. Right? So this is the powerfulness of the workflows. What you get, it can go to any complexity, or it can be very simple also. It's up to you how the workflows are can be defined. With this, I move to very important next action, that is related to business rule designer, which will help you to automate all your manual tasks or create new records or send notifications using the business rules. Right. So again, for the business rules, I can go to a specific business rule and specify the different actions. Like what all I can do from the business rule is, one is based on the trigger conditions what I have set. The trigger, the first step is the trigger on what exactly the business should get triggered, and what should be my conditions, what it should do while triggering it, while it's creating while creating of an incident, or while creating of an SR, while updating of an incident, updating of any tickets, then it should trigger it, or on certain condition, based on conditions. So you can specify what on what condition that business rule has to work, and under the actions what all it can do. With the use of business rules, you can create a record, you could update a field within the same form. You can notify your recipients. So you say on specific conditions you want to notify someone, or you want to integrate with a third-party system using a call APIs. Then you can use call API option, where you can actually call an API and trigger that API actions. Or you want to just display a message into that particular form. You just want a pop-over message to come on the display form on certain conditions. You could use that for your business rule design. Right? The next thing is the similarly, I can also talk about the notification design. So we do have out of box multiple notifications which are well configured into the systems. You could reuse that, or you can want to have your own set of notifications to be created on the systems. Yeah, you could go ahead and do that. You can specify whether you want an email notification or an SMS. We could also notify within Microsoft Teams. That's the collaborative channel what we bring in, where then any ticket notification can be as a Microsoft Teams message for the particular end user. And you have templates for each of those things. You can use different elements to design your notifications. Similarly, for your teams, you can have your design how exactly that message should come up on your teams. You can design that using the different attributes or different action widgets what you have on the option. So you could also, the best part is you also have an option where you can create some notification elements. Like for example, you say that for all your notification you require a signature where you say thanks and regards help desk. Now from today you want to change from help desk to service desk, and you would have defined some hundreds of notification. You don't have to go out and change for hundreds of notification. If you have created a notification element, you just go there, edit that, you just change from help desk to service desk, it gets updated to all your notification. So that's the power of the notification designer what you get, right? Similarly, we also have schedulers where you can go ahead and schedule different kind of an actions, like calling an API or updating certain feeds based on certain date and time what you would have scheduled, right? So using the scheduler, you can actually put it on wait and take the action only when it actually meets that particular criteria. So that's how the scheduler. Similarly, you can also have SLA designers. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm just pushing it pretty fast here. So we also have SLA designers where you can go ahead and design your SLAs. So you can build your customized SLA policies based on the custom fields. You can ensure precise control over your SLAs with start, stop, pause, or resume or restart features. to avoid any SLA breaches, right? So you can, based on your business requirement, you could go ahead and design your SLA policies, and you can also design your business hours and holidays as per your organization, right? So those are the capabilities what you would get. And and the last part what I wanted to cover is you could also have your reports and dashboards created into my system. So this is one sample dashboard what I'm showcasing, where you have the overall holistic picture of a specific module, where you can see the overall tickets, open tickets or pending approvals, and you can actually design this dashboards using different graphical widgets like a pie chart or a donut chart or a bar chart or a trend chart. So you could actually go ahead and use multiple such different widgets to go ahead and build your dashboards or reports. And all these dashboards and reports, you would be able to go ahead and schedule it to come to your mailbox on specify the date and time or interval. You could do that also without even logging into the tool. Right? So these are some of the capabilities from our designer studio, which helps you to go ahead and have a very low code, no code kind of a capabilities, and a very strong feature to build your custom apps, to manage your any kind of business operations using those apps for yourself, right? With this, I would hand over to Adarsh for putting up the next poll question.
Thanks, Deepak. That was indeed a very helpful session for our audience, as it allowed them to take a peek into some of the best-in-class features that your platform has to offer. So before we delve into the Q&A session, I have the third poll question. So I'll request my team to kindly please show the third poll question on the screen. So the question is, would you be interested in an in-person deep dive into the Symphony AI Apex platform? And the options are yes or no. And I will again request our audience to actively participate and share your perspectives on the poll questions. And for this one as well, you have around 30 to 40 seconds to answer.
Just while people will respond to the question, can we also take some Q&A, because we have limited time? So we would like to take as many number of questions utilizing the time, if that's okay.
Okay, so we can. I think the time for poll is almost done away. So if I
Okay.
can ask my team to, if the time is done, yes, fine. So
Got it.
the time
Okay.
is over. So now moving into the Q&A session. You know, I have a few questions which I would like to ask you, like before we, uh, both of you, in fact. So the first question that I have is, can you elaborate on how Symphony AI Apex platform can help organizations achieve faster service request resolution times?
Yes, definitely. See, with our as we had discussed earlier, right? So, uh, our Apex platform is designed to help organizations achieve faster service resolutions, especially using their our AI-powered automation, intelligent routing, real-time insights and dashboards, self-service options, knowledge management. Integrating all these capabilities, it actually signifies the enhances the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the service management operations, leading to the faster service request resolution times and improved customer satisfaction, right? uh, Especially from the automation part, right? So it leverages our AI to automate your any routine task and processes, reducing the workload on the human agents and speeding up the response time, right? So all your mundane activities can be automated, wherein your actual analysts can work on more productive work than on those activities which can be completely automated. So these are some of the things what we could use to deliver a faster service request resolution.
Thanks,
Pish, you would
Deepak.
like to add something on that?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so before I move to the next question, I would again request our audience to kindly, drop in your questions, and our speakers here will answer them live as much as the time permits. Also, you can see an email ID flashing on your screen. So, in case if any of your questions remain unanswered, you can kindly connect with the through the email ID, send in your questions, and Team Symphony AI will get back to you with appropriate responses. And now moving to my second question. So how can we get started with the design studio and leverage its no code, low code capabilities? It is somehow related to what Deepak just presented. So if you would like to add something on this question, Deepak.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. See, the very first thing is how do you get started with Design Studio and leverage its no code capabilities? The first thing is let's have a workshop together, wherein I can showcase the full capability of our Design Studio. And if you require an access to do that, yes, definitely you need to have your access on Design Studio or account to be set up, and then you actually go out and explore its interface, right? It's no rocket science. You don't need to be a coder to do this. Everything is, as I just showcased or demonstrated, it's simple drag and drop functionalities in which you will be able to do that. So we could also train you a session where you can give you train you walk you through which each of those things how to use it, and I think you would be able to go out and do wonders using that no code capabilities, right? Uh, so, so how do you start it? The very first thing is let's have a workshop together to start.
Great, Deepak. So looking at the paucity of time, I think we can't take too many questions, but just before we end the session, there'll be last question that I'm going to take, which is, so what security features that Symphony AI Apex platform offers to ensure data privacy and compliance?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Yes, definitely. From the security perspective or data privacy perspective, we do have data encryption in place, which is at rest and in transit. Where at rest, we do also use advanced AES or advanced encryption standards to do that. Or if I have to talk about in transit, we do also use TLS, transport layer security for data encryptions. Then we also have access control, which is a role-based access control. So which we support multi-factor authentication, and that gives you the better control on your access. Then very important is audit logging and monitoring. Right, every activities or changes or access events on the forms or on the platform, everything is logged, and you can get a complete report on that. On real-time monitoring or to detect any security incidents and other things. Right, or compliance certification. So we are GDPR compliant. We do have IPA compliant. We do have ISO certificates in place. We have SOC Type 1 and Type 2 certified. And we do also have regular security assessments like VAPT, which is in place. Then we also follow secure development processes like you having the code reviews, regular code reviews to identify or fix any security vulnerabilities, security trainings in place. Then we also uh, go with the privacy by designs to incorporate the all the design architecture which is required to be ensuring that the privacy considerations are integral while doing any development process, right? Then from integration perspectives also we do have secure APIs in place. Whenever we integrating, we do also have gonna have integration hub and third party integrators or plugins which is readily available, and all this collectively if you have to look into that, it protects the integrity, the confidentiality and availability of the data within our platform using the robust data privacy and compliance regulation standards what we have.
Thanks, Deepak. I was about to close, but I just saw, an interesting question. I think Piyush answered it right. Okay. So Piyush answered the question. So with this, we come to the end of this very interesting and very intriguing webinar. We had a very limited time to explore the immense capabilities that Symphony AI's platform had, but I think we got a peek, a glance at that, and I think that was enough to know people, that how people can get to know the potential that this platform holds. So my heartiest gratitude and to both the speakers for sparing out time joining us here at this webinar, to Piyush and to Deepak for sharing your such knowledgeable insights. Also, I'm really thankful to our dear audience for joining us at this webinar and also participating in our poll questions and the Q&A session as well. So thanks for your interest, and now we look forward to welcoming you in our future webinars as well. Have a great day all. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.